to be put into the resolution for data, to come back on. So if you're going to say 5 years, you're going to keep it, they got to keep it for 5 years, that becomes that, or, if there's a fee involved somewhere, that they become liable for any fees, or whatever you want to put in there.
I would say the motion would be to remove those other conditions on the deed that add the 5-year cannot be sold restriction and whatever you, as far as.
I think we might want.
Well, I don't know why we need a resolution.
I think we might want to also, with goodwill, to tell them it's all right for them to start working in there again. They had done some original stuff in there because we said, oh yeah, this is going to take a month.
The key is there's
A month.
there's an $800 plus a month bill just hanging out there until we can physically get this recorded and transferred. So the goal would be, to me, would be after today, Mike can get this thing done tomorrow, potentially, or this week.
Sure.
And then you can get those LU bills moved into the new ownership. So I would, as long as that can all be done, I think it's great. If it has to wait till a resolution in January, then
Yeah, okay, if you make the motion to approve everything, and then put a resolution through next month saying this is what the requirements actually were that we're going to require for that.
So we're going to have a cleaned up version. We're going to vote for today under the changed information, and then the actual sign, we're going to approve it today. We'll clean it up though for future reference back to it with an updated version of that. Okay, so I will make a motion that we accept resolution, well, that's not the resolution, is it? So 2025-309, we've already approved that. Well, okay, well, so we need that, I think
I think
we've
you
already.
just make a motion to say that we would like to move forward with the I don't want to say, the placement of the property into Hallam's possession with the knowledge that there will be constraints placed upon it within the next month. So if that sounds decent.
So, but I think, don't you believe that resolution 2025-309, which references that exhibits like that, we already voted on that back before we thought there were environmental issues.
Right, but you can but we can do an amended resolution then at the next meeting to retract all those
Okay.
things.
Okay.
And put in what you want.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
I got you. I didn't know if you wanted to cancel, like say go through and cancel that whole resolution, start over.
No, we don't want to cancel
All
the
right.
resolution totally.
We're
We
gonna
just
amend
want
it.
to, we
All
want to
right.
amend it at the next meeting, but we want to approve the ability to move this on to Hallam in the meantime.
So there's also, we need to look at the language we need to have there called like PC something LLC, or they've got a.
Oh, they use contracting for one, and then they use prime drain and plumbing
Yes.
for another. Because they started a separate company, if I remember right, didn't they,
Right.
when they
So
bought this?
we'll get that. Okay, so I'll make a motion that we make a addendum or adjustment to the original resolution 2025-309 between the Redevelopment Commission and Prime Contracting. And in the midst of that, we will reduce the amount of time required for them to hold the property to 5 years. We will also eliminate Exhibit A describing the improvements that we expect to be done. Those will be taken back or removed. And we will also update the information of their corporation to the correct name. Anything else needed? Does that do the trick? Everybody?
Are we changing anything on the physical deed other than the name, like any requirement or covenants?
I don't. I could swear some of the stuff we have already has some of that on, that new thing, because I remember him talking about that one other time 6 months ago, but I don't know. So I think that, and I want to say it's like PC Properties LLC or something like that. And I think what's happening is they were an LLC and they've now changed to a S Corp or something like that. So I think there's some legal change there. Well, let's just do it as it is. That'd be the first motion. What else do you think we need to have?
Well, if we want to put the time constraint or they have to keep it for 5 years.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
would need to be on a deed or.
Yeah. So we'll make an adjustment to Resolution 2025-309 to have just a 5-year retaining period. We will also eliminate Exhibit A. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by a sign of aye.
Aye.
And we will go on to the quitclaim deed. I may just send a copy of this to Mr. Hallam and see if he's got any issues with it. I don't think he does. Well, I guess he's never, because he saw this from Mr. Rosie, I think showed this to him. And I don't think he had any objections there. Again, I think he's in a reverse of us. He'd like to get things going also, and so he's just like, whatever. I don't know if there's anything in there that's, yeah, I don't see anything that is, I don't see it going back to being a daycare center or becoming a daycare center, child care facility. Well, I guess we can authorize, make a motion to present the quitclaim deed and that process. Now, the sales disclosure form, I guess it is filled out. So I guess we'll also, part of that same motion, say that we will record the sales transaction, the quitclaim deed. And then we also have, I don't know if we should make it a separate motion, we've got this agreement regarding exchange of real estate and waiver of liability from the school corporation. What a journey this has been.
2 years of paperwork all stacked up.
Yeah. Kelly, do you have any thoughts that, yeah. You've not been included in any of this up till, last year and a half you've not been included, and now it's like, okay, Kelly, yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll just, as part of the motion, we'll also, okay, so this document, the agreement regarding exchange of real estate and waiver liability, they're having it signed by the superintendent of the schools, by the vice president of the school board, and then by prime contracting. So they've got, it's a three-party.
I'm not sure why we're including this since the phase one was done. The phase one should have locked in any previous contamination with previous owners and is essentially absolving Prime from any of those issues. So, I mean, I'm not saying we can't do it, I'm just saying essentially this document is stating what the legal, the legalities are already established from the phase one. It seems like unnecessary. I don't see anything in here that is different from what the phase one and the subsequent vapor testing already did. Again, I'm no Malcolm.
I presume.
But I have enough of a background with the phase one that essentially this is basically restating the law that's in place for doing a phase one on a property. It's a little weird.
From a quitclaim language?
No,
there's
the agreement regarding exchange of real estate and waiver of liability at the very end.
The very last document, and it basically is an agreement between the school corporation, the RDC, and prime
I think
contracting.
all that language on the quitclaim deed and the addendum was all relative to trying to bypass the phase one stuff in the vapor testing. Now that that's all been done, I don't think that paperwork would have.
I don't know why we
anyway.
need this.
I don't think a waiver would have helped anyway, personally, but I don't think you need that or the language on the deed, because now we have
Sure.
phase one to protect us.
Agreed.
And the vapor test to protect us.
Is there any hardship with removing the language from the deed? All of those previous caveats, or is it just as easy as anything?
Unless it would be heartburn on Hallam's part.
we would, I think, have to remove it from the school corporation's deed to the RDC, because part of the condition is that it runs with the land. So if we're transferring it,
Back to the school.
yeah.
I know that the school wants to close it by end of year.
So if
that's a hardship and if he's not concerned about having those requirements in the deed, then we keep them in the deed. The real question is, do we need to also pass this agreement? Because it doesn't seem necessary to me, but, I don't know. Did you?
I believe, go ahead.
No, my thinking would be that all those requirements that you had about cleaning the building up and all that stuff, just change the date on those things, because I don't know Mr. Allen, but I know me, if I had all good intentions in the world to get all that stuff done and get busy on a bunch of other stuff, and we'll get to that, and we'll never get to it.
Yeah.
That's sort of the thing, wanting to clean up the neighborhood or whatever. And,
I think all the perceived issues are accomplishments. I think. From fix it up within a time frame, that's over because we knew it was a contractor issue down there. Any environmental problem that we had all these documents for was all preventative language in case, because we weren't going to get these environmental studies done. I think at this point, all we need, and I guess we'll need Brad, is we just need a quick claim deed that with no language from the school, with no additional language from the school to LRC, and then you guys to Hallam, the only additional language would be that 5-year trigger. There won't need to be, you need to fix up this by this date, you don't need environmental soil, this, that, and whatever. I think it's a clean transaction at this point because we've protected ourselves with the phase 1 and the vapor test.
No.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's the only thing I want on the deed from us to Hallam is that 5-year.
Yeah, so if Brad's okay with just a quick claim deed from the school to us, just the legal description, the typical language, then you take it from there to Hallam with just adding the 5-year condition. I think the rest is mute at this point.
stuff about putting out new garage doors.
Nope.
Yeah, I think that, I know he's going to do that because he was telling me he needs that to put their vehicles in. That he has to do, the roof he has to do, some of the spruce and sparkle they wouldn't have to do. What I'm wondering about this document that Brad has written, this 3-way deal, it looks like as if he's trying to make sure that he has waived off the school corporation in 10 different ways.
Burbage isn't going to waive it anyway. I don't know why he was doing that.
It's almost like this is essentially in line with what the process already is, and/or he's trying to somehow undercut EPA federal law, which isn't something I don't think they can do with this document. So I don't see any point in passing it.
Because he says down here towards the end, whereas the foregoing waiver or disclaimer also relieves LRC and Logan School Corporation of any liability under the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation and Liability Act of 1980, CERCLA, pursuant to U.S. so-and-so and so forth. So he's trying to, I think, double, triple down on, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of, I guess his concern, I guess he's trying to put us in the middle because he's got both of us listed here.
Sure.
But he's kind of like, I think his responsibility to the school is to make sure he's got them out from underneath any liability. And then I think we've delayed it long enough to go, hey, this is nuts. I don't know. So do we want to go ahead and do this agreement to make him and the school happy? And even if it has no teeth in it at all, or do we want to just say, no, Brad, we're not going to sign this? Gosh, we're
I
so,
approve both ways, and then it would,
yeah.
I mean, if Brad still wants it, are you comfortable with having it? Then you have to then convey it that way to Adam.
Yeah,
If you are, then approve it that you're good with that, but if I think the preference should be is to remove all that stuff. But are you still willing to approve it if Brad doesn't want it removed? I would,
Yeah,
so I would put it both ways.
My gut feeling is that we should probably just approve everything, run through it, and then, I mean, I've seen over my years on this board where we would have, like, say, tax abatement or something like that. The factory would come in and say, we're having a hardship, we've lost employees, blah, blah, blah. And whereas, like, their abatement should have quit, but they'd say, well, you know, we don't want you out of business, so we will back off. If down the road, I would think if Mr. Hallam had some issue down the road and he came in to this board and said, hey, you know, it's now 4 years and my, you know, his wife passes away and his wife comes, whatever circumstance could be, I don't see us being any way a hard nose about anything in the big picture. If they are if they're a good taxpayer and the building's being used and he's increasing employees. And so, you know, if we have to satisfy the school through Brad, I don't know. I guess I just say, we just prove what we've got here, to make the changes we talked about through the 5 years and get rid of the Exhibit A, and then, you know, agree to this agreement he's got. Hallam has seen this because Brad met with him. Again, it's kind of crazy how that all worked too.
He was also okay without doing the phase one at all and taking the property on his.
Correct.
And that's the whole reason that it's been delayed for 2 years, because we didn't think that was a good plan.
Right.
So in essence, are we still protecting him by passing this? If your whole goal was to protect him as a local business owner by stretching this out to 2 years, do you want to pass this and theoretically not be protecting him?
Well, we need to protect ourselves. I think there was some concern that it could wash back from
This is true.
him. The RDC was responsible. I mean, it's like we're jumping in the middle. You got the school and you've got Hallam, and we're jumping in the middle. And
lineage
if
of
we get
ownership
sucked
of the
into the
property.
same thing, we have some liability if something happened. I feel like we've done all we can to make sure that it's environmentally cleaned up or not a hazard to the community. So I think we've done our part, and I guess I feel like as if we need to get this thing finished somehow. I don't know what it takes, but it just has.
In essence, all you're probably signing him up for by passing this is you're causing him potential legal fees if at some point in the future he wants to sell that property after the 5-year period. He's gonna have to potentially pay a lawyer to explain in legalese that this document has no teeth and
Yeah.
the original established contamination that was written up in phase one applies. And that those original owners would be required to do any cleanup.
Well, are we comfortable just like eliminating that time period? I mean, I think in the history of this thing, we had multiple 5 or 6 people that were interested. And we had some thoughts that some of them could just buy it and flip it. Since they were getting it for free, they could sell for $25,000 or $100,000 or whatever, and they would get all the money that, you know, we would have basically, and they would pass it on to somebody else that wouldn't do what needed to be done. And that's why I think we originally were saying, hey, we don't want to set that temptation up to just have somebody flip it. Having talked to Mr. Hallam a number of times, he's got a plan. They need it. They need it for their business. So, you know, and they've had like pole barns in the past out in the country someplace. It was very unhandy and unheated and all kinds of things. So I think that I have known him. He used to work for me, which of course everybody has. But I think that he's sincere in his efforts to make this, you know, and he wouldn't go out and buy polyseptic. I mean, he has signs of he's continuing to grow their business. So I'm comfortable with whatever. I mean, I don't.
Well, and I didn't mean to imply that he was, again, going to be focused on selling the business for profit. My concern is essentially the worst case scenario I think you're setting him up for by passing this document is extra legal fees. If and when they get to the point when they want to do something else with the property, because it has no teeth, so.
Well,
I don't think you're locking him into anything. So if you think if we should go ahead and do it to make the school happy, I'm on board with that, because essentially,
Dwayne, you got any thoughts?
he's read it, he's reviewed it. The worst case scenario, you're not really necessarily doing anything but costing him an extra few $100s to pay a lawyer to write up a document explaining that this is a useless document.
Love it. And now get this on the front page, would you? 'Cause this is, make it clear so people understand it. I read your paper so I can figure out what's going on.
Please do that so that we can all read it later and
Yeah.
understand it better.
Okay,
And you're saying to just get rid of the 5-year language altogether?
well, I don't mind leaving it in there. Again, I believe we can leave all these teeth in there, or that have any strength or not, and if they came back to us in 4 years because somebody passes away or something happened, and they had a plan to bring some other business in there.
I think leaving the 5-year in is good, because at some point in the future, if we're looking to sell a property to a local business, they're gonna be like, well, why'd you give him his property for
True.
free and you're trying to sell
Yeah.
it to me?
Yeah, you're right.
Well, because he was gonna
Right.
update the property and basically improve the value for the city of Logansport, therefore, we thought that was a good plan. So, it still sort of covers our own.
You know, this thing
selves.
started, we had some situations where we helped out the Gothra grocery store years ago, and that, you know, we thought, oh, this is great, and we did all this stuff, and we helped get things cleaned up and parking lots and lights, and got it all nice, thinking that this will be good, and now it sits there empty for, you know,
I
years.
think leaving the 5-year in is good, not because it's obligating the new owner to the 5 years, but because we could theoretically use that as a reason why we're giving him the property instead of selling it.
Okay, so let's, we had started the motion. I think when we started it, we said we're going to eliminate the dated improvements, the Exhibit A. We're going to change the time period to 5 years. And I would say we also approve this quitclaim deed and the agreement regarding exchange of real estate and waiver liability. And then we will deal with it later if there's something. If we have to come back and revisit it 5 years from now or whatever, we'll do that. And that's my motion. Is there a second? Go ahead.
Do we need to say specifically in the motion to amend the quitclaim deed from us to Prime, adding the 5-year language?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. So we will add to that, on the quitclaim deed, we will add the language, you want to add the 5-year, the 5-year needs to be on that quitclaim.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the
So add the
quitclaim deed from
5-year necessity into the quitclaim deed. All right. Now,
Seconded,
take back your yeah, okay, yeah.
quick, before anything else happens.
Now yeah. Can we do this in one swoop, Dwayne? Do we need to make a motion to change that stuff first and then vote on all this other stuff, or are we okay just to?
Are you gonna change the resolution to drop that exhibit?
We're not changing the resolution at
Okay.
this point, so we
Then
should
at
be
that
okay
point, just
approving
make
the transfer
just make your
now.
motion for what
Yeah.
you're gonna approve to sign.
And then next time we approve the new resolution, we don't have to necessarily officially amend the resolution.
And I have just one question for with all this, that, once it's done, will there be fees involved with any of these changes?
Fees.
In like, for filing fees or any type of title work or anything that's gonna have to be covered?
County will have some transfer fees, but that's typical with transferring property.
I would say we probably should, we will pay all those, any fees that we have associated to this part of the process, I think we should pay. Because I think they patiently have waited 1.5 years and put, you know, and they actually had put some time. When they first got it, we said, yeah, go ahead and sweep up and do whatever, and they've put some money into that, and so.
For recording? No.
Not even.
Probably like $100.
Sure.
Now, I don't know if Brad would have any fees changing the language on our quitclaim deed, but
Anything in front of you does not have a fee. It would only be from here on out, that would be transfer fees. None of the work Brad has done will be a problem with you guys.
Okay.
That was on their end trying to, they're paying for the phase ones, the vapor testing, they're paying for the documents you see in front of you, deeds, all that was Brad. School paid Brad for all that.
I think you make,
Transfer fees, if you don't want to pass it on to Hallam, then yeah, prove $200, $200, and then you, it costs $84, great. You can record this stuff.
I think you make a good point. I think we should absorb those fees up to $200 or.
We need nothing more to slow this process. Okay. So, as part of the motion, and I say you'll have to be the guy cleaning all this up, so.
Yeah. I know.
So include that in the fact that we will pay any fees not to exceed $1,000. Should be a lot less than that. Okay, so we've had a motion, we've had a second, kinda, and then we've added, are we ready to say all those in favor? All those in favor signify by sign of aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Whew. Okay. And I'll touch base back with Brad Rosie too, because I know I've signed their quick claim deeds 3 times. They've had 3 different versions that we've done from the school board side of things. And we shifted things kind of in a while into having John Michael do the school stuff because it got kind of complicated with me being on both boards. Okay. Phil, you got any economic, end of year economic insights of the whole world?
A 30-second recap of the Kitchell presentation.
Oh,
I reached back out to him and Randy Royer, I think his name was, the design
Yeah.
architect. Basically, let them know that in order to have a request in front of you guys, a design request for funding, we need a plan, a spending plan, a funding plan of how, so if you spend 60-some thousand on a plan, it doesn't just sit there. So basically, that's what I told them. They need to come today. If they can have that accomplished before January, great. If not, whenever. I don't think you'll see an actual request until you see a funding plan that we think is attainable.
Honestly, I would like to see something supporting the need for extending that track as far as they want to extend it. I still don't quite understand why they want to extend an active track all the way up and around to 6th Street.
Yeah, I've talked with, when we had the previous interest for that.
Talking about Chuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matthew Warren was out.
Yeah.
And they didn't even need it to their plant over by Bay Street. They were not going to do any work over there that would require rail. So the current ownership makeup of Matthew Warren does not need rail to 6th Street. They don't even need it to the Franklin area where that plant sits.
And there's no place there to develop a transfer station for truck
Correct.
to rail traffic
Correct.
anyway. So all that great land is, right there on 24.
Right.
So,
I think they're wanting this trail. I think they're just, I don't know what exactly, but Foppers is interested. I know that much. But that would only be a switch.
Sure.
Over there, and it wouldn't be all the way to, and I don't think as a city we would even want to track traffic to 6th Street.
but the cost of their study and then the subsequent cost of the trail is significantly higher by trying to make a trail and rail right next to each other, and it seems completely unnecessary to me. If they were to take that part out, they could save themselves so much money in both the study, the design, and construction.
My
I think part of it is, I think that they want to still own all the land, but I think if you put the trail on there, that somehow we would become the city would become the maintenance vehicle for it, maybe. And I'd say,
Yeah, there's potential there. I just think that we need a funding plan before you entertain money to spend on the design plan.
Agreed.
And then as far as the usage, yeah, we have validation through Jacob, myself, Christie, we've all worked with, Matthew Warren does not need it. So we don't need a trail, in my opinion, to 6th Street. But if there's a funding plan that shows a trail and then a switch over by Foppers, great.
And any FRA
If we
funding,
have that, 60-some thousand is a very lofty number to spend for a plan.
any FRA funding you can get for that is going to require you to have businesses
Correct.
supporting it, signing on, and being very explicit with,
Usage.
I am going to haul X number of tons of freight per week. You're going to have to get real detailed. There's no gray area
We tried to
there.
get detailed with the previous individual. That's where we learned Matthew Warren had this many.
Yeah, yeah,
That was their loads they needed.
yep.
So, but now Foppers couldn't give us an exact number. So I know we would need it if we got to the point of application.
Sure.
All that to say, they will come back probably when they have a plan.
I'd love to build a trail. Everything else about their plan made me question it.
As I've said previously, I believe in the next 3 or 4 years, because of where the state of Indiana is right now, and putting the squeeze on cities like Logansport and stuff like that, that we as a board need to be really diligent on what we, so that we, I mean, there are lots of times that we in the city council have shared economic development projects for the city.
Sure.
And I think that's not going to be available for the next 2-3 years. So we need to make sure that we're prepared to continue on without the city matching us. And so like these kind of projects, if it's kind of like a lot of gray and smoke, I think we got to make sure that that all those, they've got a guy in Tennessee that's interested, and okay, let's see some documentation that they are interested, and that we don't go off spending $120,000 on design fees and that kind of surveys and stuff, and then it's dead at the other end. So anyway, I mean, I just think we have an obligation to the city and the community to make sure that, I mean, we're the one group that's hurt some by SB1 property taxes, but in general, we are still intact, and we still have funding to try to continue on an economic, I mean, the snowball's rolling here in Logansport, and we've got to keep it going. So, anyway, I think we need to be really cautious of those kind of ones, like dreams of, wouldn't this be wonderful, have a trail that'll go, I mean, not that our trail is gone, we've got lots of trails now, but we just need to make sure that we're pushing towards the economic development side of things in the next 3 years or so. Okay. Okay, any public comments? Anybody? James wants to say on the record, why did I come to this meeting? I've never been so confused in my life. Okay, any board member comments?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas. I feel like Mike's going to end up emailing former board members and letting them know, hey, guess what? We finally got that
closed the
El Tipwa property to move.
That's why they got off, because it was mentally disturbing them. Just as a quick heads up, what's going to happen, we have, the city council has approved to have Dwayne on our board as a member. Oh. So he'll be kind of in a dual function, and I think that will be a good thing, because Dwayne has had lots of experience with this stuff, and especially on the side of the funding, the State Board of Accounts, and the stuff that he did through the Clerk Treasurer's Office. I think he'll be a great addition to this board. And Malcolm this would have been his last meeting, and we want to thank him. As I say, for better or for worse, we all learned a lot about environmental stuff in the last 12 months, thanks to Malcolm, and we wish him well in what he's got, stuff he has to do. And anything else for anybody? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Happy New Year.
Would have been quicker if we hadn't gotten in the weeds there.
Enjoy your vacation.
That's about as crazy as it's going to get here.
I thought we were going to make it build